With Jay having completed the frigid north, it's now my turn to take the wheel of our Creta and point it east. My destination, the easternmost frontier of Kibithu. Along the way, I'll pass the breathtaking wetlands and lush green forests of the northeast, drive alongside the mighty Brahmaputra river, past some of the most exciting infrastructure projects in the country, and when we end up at the border, the most picturesque war memorial awaits us. This should be fun. It's a nice and easy introduction to the drive for me. My first leg is a relative cruise from Delhi to Agra and then on to Lucknow on the super smooth and arrow straight Yamuna Expressway. All I have to do is set the Creta into cruise control and let the ADAS lend that very helping hand as I streak across the country and take in the sights of the heartland of our nation. Once past the chicken neck at Siliguri, you really see a change in the surroundings, and it's a great introduction to the beautiful northeast. For starters, the pleasant aroma of tea begins to start filling the air, especially once you're in Assam. And then there's that other great bit about being in the northeast, the food. They say the best way to experience local culture is with your taste buds, which is why I'm going to dig into this absolute feast I have laid out before me. And another omnipresent factor when driving in the northeast is the enormous Brahmaputra river. I'll be crossing it multiple times on my way to Kibithu, and each time it's going to be different and special. You really get a sense of just how vast this country is on an epic drive like this. There are massive distances to cover every day, but thankfully there are great infrastructure projects that bring the four corners of our country just a little closer together. And this right here is one of them. If the Bogibeel Bridge looks just a little peculiar to you, that's because it's a double-decker bridge. It's got road and rail together in one bridge. Spanning just under 5 kilometers long, it runs across the length of the mighty Brahmaputra with road vehicles on the top and rail on the lower level. It truly is a marvel of Indian engineering. spent the night in the charming little town of Tinsukia, it was time to hit the road once more, and as always, the plan was clear: keep heading east. The next destination was Tezu, just before the start of the mountainous stretch, but there was one more marvel of engineering to check out before I got there. It's another day behind the wheel of the Creta, and stretching off in the distance ahead of me, really as far as the eye can see, is one of India's most striking bridges. The Bhupen Hazarika Bridge here at Assam, at almost 10 kilometers long, is the second longest bridge over water in the country, second only to the Atal Setu in Mumbai, which we'll also be encountering later on in this trip. Like the Bogibeel Bridge that we drove across earlier, it too spans across the Brahmaputra River, except it's twice as long and even longer than the Bandra Worli Sea Link in Mumbai. In this case, since it connects important border regions, it's been designed to carry 60-ton tanks like the Indian Army's Arjun and T-72 main battle tanks. With the bridge behind me, I powered through to Tezu, where the mountains loomed large overhead, giving me a glimpse of what was to come the following day. Today is the most important day of my stint on the Hyundai 4K India Extreme Drive, because we've set off from Tezu and now we point the Creta's nose towards the second extreme of Kibithu. Now that we're in the twisties, I do have to take a more active role in the driving of the Creta, but that's not a bad thing because it's actually proving to be super engaging and quite fun to drive in these twisties. Apart from how fun the Creta is to drive, of course, when the roads get a little bad, you also really appreciate the ground clearance and the fact that the suspension is tuned just right. There are a few neat little touches that do make living with it up in the hills so much easier. Well, there's hill start assist, for example, and the 360-degree camera that can make navigating these little tricky patches so much easier. With the Creta taking everything in its stride and the views getting ever more spectacular, before I knew it, I was right there at our easternmost frontier. This drive is all about exploring the four corners of this wonderful nation, and the job of ensuring these four corners remain in the spot they're meant to be in is the job of the Indian Army. It's the job the Army did back when the Chinese Army tried to enter into our territory with armed advances. Despite being outnumbered, these brave soldiers managed to halt the advance of the Chinese Army for 27 days in this challenging terrain of Kibithu, Balong and the Namtree Junction. This war memorial here in Balong stands as a tribute to the brave soldiers that gave their lives in the sacrifice for our country, and for that we'll eternally be grateful. Here we finally are in Kibithu, the easternmost town in India. It's been a long way getting here, from the snowy ice-capped peaks of the north to the lush green rolling hills of the east. It's been nothing short of magnificent. Now, this is the second leg of our drive, which means we're halfway through it. And as we point the nose of the Creta south, we're just going to see more and more of the wonderful diversity our country has to offer. My stint on the Hyundai 4K Extreme India Drive is now drawing to a close, and what a journey it's been. From coasting along the supreme Delhi-Agra expressway to navigating the tight twisties of the northeast, it's been a drive that's covered it all. The Creta has been an absolute champ through everything we've thrown at it, and it's now time to further explore the stellar lineup that Hyundai offers in India. So when you tune in for the next episode, it's going to be a new anchor, a new car, and so many exciting new destinations yet to be explored. So click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to know when the next leg drops.